Hilary Duff and Haley Duff in a comedy about what happens when material girls
I was a debate team nerd in high school.
That's cute. Nerds are like really in right now.
get real.
You girls, you're everything to me.
Give it up for Ava and Tansy Marcia.
Material girls.
Thanks.
No problem, Miss Marshetta.
I'm gonna come to the office more often.
Time to get serious about movies.
100 rotten movies worst we can find. Is there any hope left for man? Pray for our souls and pray for our minds. On we must go, the rotten redeemer. All right, hello. Welcome to Rotten Redeemers, where we revisit the rotten, the reviled, and forgotten. I'm Ian Destructible, and joining me on this inaugural episode is David.
David Szymanski, also known as, but yeah, don't want to go by my Discord name.
Yeah, I don't want to accidentally dox you either. You are not the David Szymanski, famous game developer who designed the video game Dusk. I think we should get that out of the way. That's going to be confusing.
Yeah, I am not.
You're not that David Szymanski.
Not that guy.
No, he's a cool dude. So on this show, basically the idea is we're going to go down the list of the 100 most rotten / worst movies according to Rotten Tomatoes. And there is the article, the 100 worst reviewed / most rotten movies. And we'll have a link to that if you want to follow along. But we're basically just going to go right down the list and decide if these movies got a fair shake, if they are rotten, so to speak, or if they are worthy of being redeemed and are actually fresh.
What do you think about the movie we picked today?
I've never watched it. My fiance insisted that it was actually good. She's like, "Oh, that's a mistake. There's no way."
Same thing with my wife.
Yeah, and then as soon as I put it on, she's like, "Okay, maybe I was 14 or 12."
I was a child, and this was something to aspire to.
Yeah, the veneer wore off really quick. I didn't have that. I didn't have the rose tinted goggles, so I was instantly I was strapped into my chair like the Clockwork Orange scene where he's just got his eyelids pulled apart.
Oh yeah, I was hopeful though, because going through the list of what the future holds, I saw quite a few movies that I'm like, that's a good movie. I could be wrong. I haven't seen those movies in a long time, so I was like, all right, it can't be that bad.
No. It's a fun list. It's definitely not objectively the 100 worst films of all time. It's kind of like a nice little hodgepodge of just generally disregarded movies.
Yeah,
so it'll be
this
fun.
One's got a 4 out of 10 on IMDb. So it's not world renowned as one of the worst movies. So
no,
I'm sure there's no ratings on IMDb.
Yeah, there's and I think it's only widely released movies too, no student films or any shit that of course it's bad. Yeah. So this will be fun. We're going to do mostly movies that should be accessible, although this movie, and the movie's Material Girls. Material Girls starring Hilary and Haley Duff. Double Duff.
Also Brent Spinner.
Yeah, and Brent Spinner and Anjelica Huston. But yeah, Material Girls, I actually had a really hard time finding this one. It is not on any streaming service.
Let's start there because
let's start with acquiring this fucking movie.
I don't know if you did the same thing I did, but after you told me that you had a hard time finding it, I'm like, I'm gonna find this movie. It's got to be on the internet somewhere.
Yeah,
I'm on every site. I went to the sketchy Russian sites that you could probably find. Just they have the RUS end. So I'm like, it's not here. I searched for at least an hour and not on any streaming service or anything. Inaccessible.
That's such a good sign that these are going to be good movies. The first one was just not accessible. So yeah, we had to start a week later than we initially wanted to because we both had to order actual DVDs, which it's been a minute since I've bought a DVD and not a Blu-ray. But this is a gourmet operation for sure.
And there should have been a $1.99 rental on Amazon, but you end up paying $15 because there's only 19 left in the world.
Yeah, mine was shipped directly from the Antarctic lab from The Thing, which is where one of the 4 copies that remains is. So I had to pay $40 of shipping. It's fucking nonsense.
Oh, man.
So Material Girls starring the Duff sisters, kind of I don't want to say, but I think this is past the nadir of their popularity. This is when they were starting to kind of come down a little bit.
Yeah, you could be right about there, but well, I don't even know what year this movie was made.
2006.
2006.
Well, it came out in 2006.
So yeah, I guess it's probably Hilary Duff a couple years removed from the Lizzie McGuire movie was probably her last big thing.
Yeah,
or Agent Cody Banks.
Yeah.
And this, I felt like I don't know anything about it, but I'm like this. She got her sister in the movie. This has to be a passion project for Hilary Duff because
as far as I read, like, and this is all like IMDb and internet trivia, so grains of salt for sure. But like, it sounded like this was like a script that was just being kicked around for like any power group of girls. I think it was like pitched as kind of. I think it's such a like a weird out of time like movie because it's like they're kind of making this play off of like the Paris Hilton Nicole Richie thing, and I think that's like referenced in the movie even.
Yeah,
and it's like,
yeah, for sure.
And that shit by 2006, like they had already fallen off the cliff. So it's like it definitely felt like a movie that was just like being kicked around and then came out just way too late to be like relevant at all.
Oh yeah, and just reading the premise, I'm like, oh, this is the movie that Two Broke Girls is based off of. Like it's got to be. It
was
not.
No, it's a story that's been done to death. It's like the Sense and Sensibility, like fucking every riches to rags thing that's ever been made. Which we'll get into it more as we go, but I was very surprised like how little happened in the movie.
Yeah, it was like so I watched the movie once through with Christy, my wife, and then I watched it a second time with the director's commentary, and there's just like, yeah, there's nothing to the movie. Like I had a hard time sitting through it even a second time. It was actually more enjoyable with the director's commentary because there was more going on there than there was in the actual movie. At least she had premises to why she made the trash decisions that she and maybe it wasn't just her, there's other people involved, so I'm not going to put it all on the director, but a lot of things in this movie I had a hard time with.
For sure. So I'll get into kind of the meat and potatoes of the release schedule. It was released August 18th, 2006. It made 4.6 million its opening weekend, which is not a lot. It opened at number 9 at the box office. Would you like to venture a guess on what the number 1 movie was, David?
In August of 2006.
Yes.
Ooh, I know I'm off on this, but I'd like to think it was like 300 or something, like one of those wild.
300. No. It was like it's a movie that I think you could guess.
A Fast and Furious movie or something.
It's in the same, I'd say it's a similar tone to a Fast and the Furious movie. It's like all over the map. People die, but it's like so high octane that you don't even have like a second to process it.
Yeah. No, I got nothing.
Okay. It's Snakes on a Plane.
Yeah, definitely wouldn't have guessed that.
I didn't know Snakes on a Plane ever was like ever hit number 1, but it did for 1 week, and then it was knocked off.
Really?
Yeah.
So, I'm surprised Snakes on the Plane was not on this list of 100 lowest.
I think it's so like it's too self-aware, like it's having too much fun.
Yeah,
like it's not like boring. Yeah. It's a popcorn movie, but it's like I think it's a little too self-aware.
Oh yeah, but not to get off track, but Snakes on a Plane to date had the best teaser I've ever seen. It was just like an airplane and then flashing lights, and it said Snakes on a Plane. Yeah. And I was hooked. I'm like, what is that? I don't know anything about this movie, but that title.
To this day, the reason why I want to like play flight simulator games, because I want to be the Keenan. I want to be the Keenan Thompson on my plane. I want to be like, I know how to. I played flight simulator on my PSP.
Oh yeah, yeah. I literally just had this conversation with Michael, who's in another one of Ian's podcasts.
Yeah, Michael from.
He's like, I want to play flight simulator, so if I'm ever on a plane and the pilot dies, I know how to handle this.
If I'm in if I'm in a soul plane situation, a Snakes on a Plane situation.
Oh man!
Basically, any of the great plane movies.
6 days, 7 nights.
Money Plane. They don't have to land that plane, but fantastic film, Money Plane. So yeah. Would you like to guess what the number 1 song in the U.S. was for the week?
This is completely not completely out of left field, but I don't know the song, but I was gonna say a Good Charlotte song.
No, it's not a Good Charlotte song, but that is an apt guess. No, it was I wouldn't have guessed it either. It's London Bridge by Fergie, which I am surprised hit number 1. Like, that didn't seem like it was that popular for any amount of time, but
yeah.
The number 2 song I think is the more memorable of the songs. "Crazy" by Gnarls Barkley. That's one.
Ooh, yeah. That one's still a banger.
Yeah, it's always the way it goes. It's like the old it's just the rules. The runner-up's always the one that sticks with you. You know, Justin Guarini, obviously more culturally relevant than Kelly Clarkson. That's what I refer to that effect as, the Justin Guarini effect.
Yeah.
So that's really it. It was directed by Martha Coolidge, who is like an actual actually respected, like she's been in the industry for a really long time. She has like a shitload of credits, has done like a lot of TV, but like she's like a real director. She's not someone who just like shat this movie out and then it killed her career and she never directed anything again. Yeah, she directed fucking Real Genius. Like, that's a good movie.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so like we actually have someone at the helm here who is like trying. Are we ready to get into like just like the actual plot of the film here?
Yeah, for sure. Well,
All right.
We'll definitely get into it.
Yeah, so it opens with a commercial for the Marchetta Sisters company. Well, I guess it's just the Marchetta company, but it's a commercial for a cosmetics company, but like the commercial deliberately only has like douche adjectives. I thought it was like, I didn't know they were cosmetics. I'm like, are they selling douche? Is it a douche company? Like, it's like clean, pure, fresh, and they're just like dancing around smiling. I'm like, they sell douches.
Definitely. It's the commercial and then it fades out to the billboard. And there's nothing that hints at it being a cosmetics ad, but I guess that's probably what all cosmetics ads look like anyways. Yeah. So maybe they were hitting that one directly on the head.
Yeah. I guess is a douche cosmetics?
I think so. I think any health and beauty product falls into that.
That'd be funny if that was like part of the plot. Like their dad like passed a bad douche. That's another thing I wanted to get into. I have the I went through the IMDb reviews for this movie and I found my favorite one. So I'm gonna read that on air.
All right.
And we'll see how you feel about it. There's also an honorable mention that disagrees with the review. So this review was a 2-star review, and it says, "I give this movie a solid 2. The acting is terrible. The plot is horrible. The sets are boring. You could turn the sound off and follow along without any problems. It is so idiotic. What little plot there is predictable. There is really nothing redeeming about this film." Reference to our podcast name. Except the Duff girls. They are smoking hot. Based on those 2 pieces of eye candy alone, I give the film a 2. 2's like in quotes, like there were 2 hot women in it, so it gets a 2.
Oh man.
Which, like, someone needs to let this guy like see more women. Like, the Duff sisters are smoking hot.
Is that what the one that contradicts it says?
No, it's not. But I thought that was funny. I've never seen a man has he never seen like other women before, like just lusting hard after the Duff girls?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
oh my god,
as far as celebrity women go, Haley Duff does not even jump onto the radar of hot.
Yeah, like B tier. I don't ever want to judge people by their looks.
Yeah,
but they're in the they never crack B tier.
Yeah, neither one of them.
No, yeah. So it's very funny to picture this man like being like, "Well, this is the only movie I have with any girls in it." Now his accent. Now he's from Boston. He's gone from British to Boston. Yeah, but without their looks, I would give it a 0. He later goes on to say, "If you want to watch a better chick teen flick, which is an interesting genre that he made up, a chick teen flick, try Mean Girls." Like, so he knows Mean Girls exists. So like he knows like Rachel McAdams and Lindsay Lohan exist. But he's still no.
He sounds like a guy who saw his first chick teen flick and it was Mean Girls and he fell in love. So he just went down the rabbit hole. And unfortunately, this was his second pick.
The 3rd and 4th hottest women on earth, Hillary and Haley Duff, right behind Rachel McAdams and Lindsay Lohan. Number 3 and 4, respectively. He then goes on to say, or you could watch a real movie like Animal House or Bullet or Gladiator or Apocalyptico or Cinderella Man, which it's an incredible list of better movies.
Yeah.
No, this is a man who's seen 6 movies in his life. And Cinderella Man, which has Renee Zellweger. He thinks she's the 5th hottest woman ever.
He sounds like he's a big Russell Crowe fan.
Big, yeah, it's such a, like, that's a weird selection of movies. But yeah, I do have the review that disagrees with him. So here's the honorable mention, best IMDb review. The only reason I gave this a 1 instead of a 2 is that I genuinely like the Duff sisters. I was looking forward to a movie that my daughter would like, and I would enjoy, if not just tolerate. I think the sisters should fire their agents, advisors, producers, or whomever put them in up to this. It did nothing to enhance their careers, and I'm still not sure who they thought their audience was. I'm gonna stop doing the girl. Certainly no adults would, parentheses, or should, choose to see this movie if they weren't going for their daughters. But neither was this movie properly aimed at young girls, the Duffs' main fan base. As far as the PG rating, I am not a prude. I actually own Mean Girls, and I am fairly liberal about what my children watch. Possibly my favorite quote of all time. I am not a prude. I actually own Mean Girls.
Oh, that's good.
That's an A+ tier like thing to say. I'm fairly liberal about what my children watch, e.g., we love Friends, even though others think that material's not always appropriate for kids. But I squirmed in my seat for the moms that had younger children in the audience, as well as for my own 11-year-old daughter. Without going into detail, no spoilers, there were blatant references to adultery, gangbanging, and sex that I did not think were appropriate at all. Adultery, gangbanging, and sex, like adultery, non-sexual adultery, and then actual sex and gangbanging.
I missed every one of those references.
They were there. They were just like they weren't like that. They weren't that bad. There was some foul language. There was outright prejudice against all sorts of people. Referencing an earlier review, yes, the comment was about I Love Lucy and not Hispanic Nanny, but nonetheless annoying anyway. I don't know what the fuck that was in reference to. But yeah, I thought that was funny. Just someone being mad that the movie wasn't PG-13. I thought that was pretty amusing.
That's awesome.
I'm not a prude. I actually own Mean Girls. So with that, I think we're ready to get into the meat of the film here. Like we said, there's like an opening. They're cosmetics heiresses of the Marchetta company. We then see them arrive at a club. We find out that Haley is engaged to some guy who's like a B-movie star. He's on like some shitty TV drama. And I think the club scenes where we really start to get like the director's input here. Because, oh my God, there are some fucking transitions.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, like the very first thing I noticed when they step into the club is, and I'm not sure, but the gay best friend I recognized him and I racked my brain and I'm like, that's the guy from Even Stevens.
Yeah.
It was, and I'm like,
from Even Stevens.
I like that guy. He's good. He's good. And then it transitions into the fiance having some girl say, sign my abs. He's like, you want me to sign your abs? And the girl doesn't have abs. So
no, the girl does not have abs. So he's like, where do I sign? And that would be funny. Yeah. But no, also like, if you're gonna complain about the movie being PG-13, like, or like that it's like too grim, like they literally like had a dude sign a girl's like stomach. And they won't even like overtly say that they're drinking alcohol in the club. Like it's definitely like a PG movie. I don't care that like somebody says gangbanger later. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah, you got Hilary Duff, who is aspiring to go to college, so she's obviously around 18 in a club drinking alcohol with her sister, who can't be much older.
Yeah. Did you know she's only actually 19 when they did this?
Makes sense.
Yeah, and Haley was 21.
Okay, so she can have a drink.
Yeah, so she could have a drink, which specifically she does get handed a drink called a Borba water. Which
okay, that's right. Was supposedly water.
Yeah, a Borba water, which I don't know.
Yeah, in a martini glass.
Yeah, looks like a Mai Tai or some shit. But anyways, so we start getting these like wild fucking transitions as like they're going around the club. We establish that she's waiting to be proposed to and they're going to be engaged. Also, can we talk about their names? Ava and Tanzia.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tanzia is a pretty fucking objectively terrible name for a character.
Was that her whole name, or did
Hillary's name was Tanzia, and they were just calling her Tans the whole time.
Okay, they called her Tansy.
Yeah, or Tans.
Yeah,
which is fucking wild. I don't know why.
Well, just on that, they had, you know, the oil to the whole movie was Fabiella, so that's another special name.
Yeah, Fabiella, at least if you shortened it, would be Fab.
Yeah.
Like Tansy's a bad name. Like Tansy Marchetta is like a shit name.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I guess you have Marchetta, not sure where that name's from, but you got two basic white girls playing Italian or something.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's what it was. Anyways, we then go back to their giant mansion where we realize that Hillary is watching a TiVo recording of her dad doing like a infomercial for his like cosmetic products and like watching that lovingly, which I think is fucking hilarious. Do you not have a better video of your father? Like, is there not a single home movie? No, it's the infomercial with my dad.
Yeah.
I was like, I hope this is like what Billy Mays' kids are watching. Right?
Oh man.
Just like watching fucking OxyClean.
Yes. Prized possession, the TiVo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I like, and that was my second thing is if like that was your treasured only like video of your dad, would you not like burn it off of the TiVo like onto like some actual media? You would just trust it to like be on the fucking TiVo.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't copy it to a fucking DVD or VHS or something, flash drive. You would just leave it on the TiVo.
Anything, just I want the TiVo. Yeah.
Fucking insane.
Yeah. Well, that club scene though, like that was the start of my biggest complaint with the movie. Just being, it starts off with their scene where they're shooting the commercial, and you got Hillary Duff singing "Material Girls," her version. But every other song that's in the movie is not on the radar of any song I've ever heard before. So I felt like they blew their budget on cameos from a couple, couple ones that jumped out at me at least, and I'm like, they blew their music budget on cameos, and
then they couldn't even get songs from those people.
Yeah, they go into the club and they're playing club music of songs that have never played in a club ever before. Songs pop up on the radio. They're like, I love this song.
Yeah, they're playing like a royalty-free music in the club. You're like, this is my shit.
Exactly. I'm like, nobody's ever said, I love this song. This is a song that somebody made off of GarageBand or whatever was available.
Listening to the radio, be like, oh, great. And here's your number one single this week, a Real Hard Rocker from Kevin McLeod in Compotech.com.
Oh, yeah. Just continue the trash music. I'm like, man, the budget must have been on the level of independent film. But then,
I couldn't look the budget up. That was what I couldn't look it up. I couldn't find it. Not great actors, but they had Anjelica Huston and the Duff sisters and Brent Spinner. There had to have been a decent budget, but then why do you have no music? That's the most important thing in a movie is the soundtrack. And who knows, this movie could have been at least 2 times better if it had a decent soundtrack. It's true. I don't know if it would have affected the IMDb reviewers we heard from. They would have just had to pick hotter leads, I suppose. Yeah, so the music is objectively awful. I was going to say also, because we had to watch this movie on DVD, I feel like you can tell if a movie's trying or not from the DVD menu. And this probably was the most like by the numbers, lazy, low energy DVD menu I've ever seen in my fucking life.
Oh, yeah.
It's just some guy like just fucking going on a violin. And like it's like a 15-second long loop before it goes back to the beginning of the fucking DVD menu.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's fucking tragic, dude. It was one of the worst things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, like, I used to fall asleep with, like, DVDs on. And, Like, so,
there
like, some
would
of,
be
like...
a cut scene of the movie and actual stuff happening.
Yeah. Like, if I fell asleep and this was the DVD menu that was on, like, that would have, like, negatively impacted my entire life.
Well, yeah, that's what happened when we turned the TV on this morning. I forgot to shut the DVD player off, and pops.
Yeah.
Those...
You should, you should leave that on, like, when you're away from home. With just your dog, just to see if your dog. Yeah,
just lost it.
Yeah, but yeah. So she's watching videos of her dad on TiVo. Haley obviously isn't as sentimental about the dad. She's like, she turns it off. She's like, I want to watch this parody of Rob Fukuzaki, who's doing this like man on the street report. That's what it was, right? He was a parody. He was an incredibly like racist parody of Rob Fukuzaki.
Yeah.
Rob Fukuzaki's like he was like the man on the street reporter for like all the LA news stations, and they just have this like caricature of him called like fucking Hajime Nakamura or some shit. I thought that was funny. I was here for that.
No, yeah, I have it in my notes. It was Ned Nakamura.
Okay, Ned Nakamura.
Yeah.
Which fucking. They probably could have gotten the actual Rob Fukuzaki. That would have been cool.
Yeah, for sure. But like I said, they wasted their money somewhere. The Hillary Duff got her sister paid. That's what she did.
She did. It's so weird. That was another weird thing about their like dynamic. Usually the hanger-on sibling is always younger, right? Like the older one is like, but like Haley's the older sibling.
Yeah.
And Hillary Duff's like, here, let me help you out. So you have that to look forward to from Michael.
I can't wait.
Yeah, but no,
with some sweet internet.
Oh yeah, I think also I don't know. I think this happened in the club scene. There's a reference to the Spice Girls.
Oh
Fred
yeah,
Durst,
definitely.
and Prozac.
Yeah.
So very much a time capsule of the era.
Yeah, the reference to the Spice Girls was probably my favorite reference in the movie. I don't even remember which character it was, but it's like, I just got done auditioning for the Spice Girls. Oh, which one? The black one. So I didn't get it. I was like, oh crap. Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, that is good. Oh, and Haley also, and Hillary does this a few times later on in the movie. She's wearing like a giant cross, like a giant crucifix, like vampire hunter fucking crucifix around her neck in like every scene of the movie. I don't know if you noticed that. She looks like fucking Van Helsing.
Then, like her very first, like after the club scene when they're back in the house and like it first shows her, she's walking around with like an extra long tank top on. What now would be like the spandex pants or whatever leggings that everyone wears, and these giant fur boots that go up.
Yeah, she had these fucking giant fucking Uggs, these fluffy Uggs, pink Uggs. They look like fucking Blaziken legs.
Yeah, they were really trying to make her look like a douche. Like this is some rich girl who just puts on whatever the magazine tells her is hot, and they really painted her that way early.
Yeah, no, they totally did. And but you know, you want to root for her because she still is a follower of Christ. So
I guess it has that effect.
Yeah.
They had that one other scene back at the house where you can tell, like, because you don't really get much from the fiance at the club other than you find out that he's some sort of celebrity because he's signing abs. Yeah. But then she shows the engagement ring. She's like, oh, okay. And she's like, oh, he has such great taste. And then Hillary's like, you picked it out. She's like, yeah, but he's still great. Like, oh, that's rough. All right. That's like the first sign that their relationship is, I guess, that is foreshadowing for their relationship.
Yeah, for sure. And also we're introduced to their maid, Inez.
Oh, yeah.
Played by Maria Conchita Alonso. I don't know if you're familiar with her.
I am familiar with her. Yeah. And I wouldn't have known unless I watched the commentary, but they talked about how she had to wear these giant butt implant things to make it look like she was a little thicker than she actually was.
Okay, I was gonna say her butt was like really big in like a few of the shots where they weren't even like trying to aim at it.
Great ass!
It was massive. Yeah. So I normally don't. I'm not an ogler.
Like Kim Kardashian was taking notes.
Okay. Did you know what other movies she was in?
I don't.
Okay, she was in The Running Man.
Oh, okay.
And that's my IMDb like Kevin Bacon trivia for this movie is that she's in The Running Man and she's Arnold Schwarzenegger's love interest. And in this movie, she plays a Hispanic maid. So it all connects. Oh, yeah. But I thought, she's great. She's a great actress. I like her.
Yeah, she did good.
That is funny because I did notice, like I said, I'm not an ogler generally, but I was like, she had some cakes going on, but that is funny that those were artificial.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with her, and I'm just like, oh wow, like very early for the time on how big her butt is, but that was definitely intentional.
That's a very strange choice, but I'm here for prosthetic like body parts. Yeah, but anyways, they go to their business and they're doing like we're introduced to Data, Brent Spinner, looking like Master of Disguise Brent Spinner, which is my favorite era of Brent Spinner.
Yeah. Tommy. He was, aside from his voice, like a couple voice cues, and he was unrecognizable.
Yeah.
Because it took me till near the end of the movie to figure out that was Data, because I had no idea who this guy was, and he played
I feel like
just like, oh man, this guy's a slime ball. By the end of the movie,
Tommy Katzenbach,
well.
named he goes by Tomcat, which is fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
I love that because I feel like Brent Spinner at some point was like, I want to stop being typecast as like these erudite, like android like men. And so in all of these movies from like the mid to early like 2000s, he's like make me tan as fuck, so I look the opposite of Data. Just orange Brent Spinner.
Want money, gold chains, make me look rich.
He says "beam me up" in one of the scenes. It was funny.
I missed that. Yeah. That's good. Yeah. Well, that's just some good writing.
Yeah.
Give the people what they want.
Okay. No, he didn't even realize it was a reference. He's like, oh, that's a good line. I like that. But yeah, he's great. He's good in every movie. He was good. Yeah,
he's probably my second favorite character in the movie.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the people who's like propping the movie up for sure. And then so they're at work. They're very much phoning it in. They seem disinterested, but they're just there to like kind of make appearances. They find out Brent Spinner's like giving them like he stopped being like their trustee, which ends up being important later. But yeah, he's like giving their business over. There's the like assistant, like I don't know, he's like the second of the CEO of the company. He's like,
oh yeah, that's my number one. He's my favorite character in the whole movie.
Oh yeah, he's fucking great, dude. Played by yeah, he steals every scene he's in because he's got the best gag where he's like on his Bluetooth but he's like talking to him.
Yeah, exactly. I love you. Yeah, take care. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, it's very funny. Yeah, which I'm sure that gag had been done to death, but that the actor Oba Babatunde, I don't know if that's sorry if I mispronounced that, but yeah, he's fucking great. He's the evil dean from How High. I was like, where do I know?
Yeah, no, for sure. That's the only thing I recognized him from. I'm like, this is the guy from How High. I'm sure. I know he's been in other movies, but that was the one that jumped out at me as well.
Yeah, I love Oba Babatunde. But yeah, anyways, so they're at work, they're phoning it in very much. They're like deciding which charities they want to give it to, but they're like texting the whole time. They don't give a shit. So you're supposed to think, oh, they don't care about anything. They're just keeping up appearances.
When they arrive at the place, they introduce Hilary Duff's love interest.
They do.
They pull up in their convertible Mercedes SL, and the guy's standing out there, and they hand him the keys to park their car. And he does it. He parks the car for him, and they're like, all right, thanks. And Hillary immediately thought he was cute, but they went upstairs and met Brent Spinner, who was also just saying, hey, when you guys take over in a month, and then they're like, well, I hope you can keep taking care of the company. And he's like, well, if you decide to keep me on, like they're obviously giving it to him, but he's already like, hey, well, I'm out. I got other plans for you guys. So
the seeds are being planted for the plot. Great writing. Rick is Hilary Duff's love interest, the Hispanic man who parks their car, who we find out later is not a valet.
Yeah,
which is funny. Because that's incredibly like fucked up of them. So kudos to him for like still being nice to them.
When we take over the company, we'll make you lead valet. And he's like, I'm not a valet. We don't have parking here.
Yeah.
I'm just a nice guy.
Yeah, he's as far as like a heartthrob love interest that like you can tell like Hilary Duff's like creaming over him like in the first scene. Yeah. He's a pretty good looking guy.
Yeah. She finds out he's a chemist and that's what she wants to do. So
he's got beautiful lips. Beautiful lips. He's got some of the best lips I've ever seen on a man. Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Angelina Jolie tier lips, but on a man. It's great. But yeah, so that's Rick. He'll come back later. But yeah, so as they're leaving after the meeting, they run into Henry Baines, who is a like attorney for the poor and underprivileged, and he's trying to get their he's there making the charity appeal as well, and they kind of blow him off. Do you recognize Lucas Haas, David?
I did not. No.
Okay.
I didn't recognize him. I saw him and I was like, oh man, what's up with that peach fuzz mustache? How is this guy one of the love interests for the movie?
Yeah, and he gets
But
okay.
I know you feel differently.
No, no, yeah. So there's also another thing we're gonna have to establish here. As misogynistic as this may be, I do think the grand question of the movie and the grand question of like a lot of things is, which Duff sister do you prefer, David?
I prefer Hillary Duff. For sure.
That's so fascinating.
Yeah, but maybe it's childhood. We're about the same age, so Casper meets Wendy. She was Wendy. That was like early 2000s. I was still a kid, so I was like, oh, Hillary Duff. That was like probably right around the time Lizzie McGuire started, so I was in. It's like, all right.
I think Haley Duff's way better looking.
Yeah, you could be right, but I just at least with Haley Duff, they put her in those horrible outfits throughout the entire movie, and I'm just like, I'm out. Like, I don't know what she looks like outside of this movie. Probably seen. This is probably the only place that I could possibly know her from. And,
oh no, she's in a movie you've seen.
Oh, okay.
She's the mean bully girl from Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh, okay.
Which is probably why I like her, because she's like a horrible person in that, and a horrible person in that. And she's just like mean mugging everyone, like rolling her eyes. I'm like, yep, that's it. That's my aesthetic. But yeah, anyways, Haley, in my opinion, is the better looking. So fitting that she got Lucas Haas, Henry Baines as her. Lucas Haas. He's been in like a lot of movies, but the thing that I immediately clocked him for and recognized him for is he is the like lead in the My Chemical Romance Welcome to the Black Parade video.
Ooh. Nice. I did not know that.
Oh, I immediately was like, and it's funny because they as he's like leaving, they're like, you can put like little shit like on your eyes to make them not be like so baggy. And in that video, he's wearing like these like raccoon eye like paint stuff. So yeah, that's funny. Very funny. So I was immediately enamored with Lucas Haas. I think he's a beautiful man. And I'm glad he got the better of the two sisters. We don't have like a my best friend's wedding situation where I'm getting mad because the people aren't.
Yeah.
Everyone's staying in their lane as far as their love interests. So they leave. They go to like their dad's like memorial service, which is at like a casino or something, like some weird like bar. Yeah, just having like a thing for their dad. Well,
when they arrive at the service, because it's like weird. It's like a party. It's not like. Is that not the right scene? Unless I missed something.
No, you're right. You're right.
They show up and there's paparazzi, and here's my first favorite cameo. Did you recognize one of the reporters that was out there?
No, I did not.
It was Carl Lewis of Olympic fame, world's fastest man. He's interviewing the girls, and he says to Haley, "Oh, you got running legs." And like when he said that, I was like, "That's so good."
It's like they're trying to book the Duff sisters so strong. Like it's like it'd be funny if they like gave their like car to like the valet, and it's like, I haven't seen driving that good in a while. It's just fucking Tiger Woods.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fucking ridiculous. Oh my god.
Oh man, I'm like, it's Carl Lewis who just said you got running legs. I'm not even sure which sister he was talking to, but I would give it to the taller, more athletically built of the two.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's awesome. And they make it into their dad's memorial service, which is a giant party where there's like gift bags. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was meant to be funny, but I won't. But yeah, they meet. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say it's just continuing to play off of every party in Hollywood or with billionaires. You got to have a gift bag. Yeah, that's the most important thing when leaving a party is how juicy is the gift bag.
For sure. So this is where they meet Anjelica Huston, who's their arch nemesis Fabiella.
Yes.
Anjelica Huston is wonderful, radiant as always.
Yes, I feel like she's played this character many times before.
Kudos to her for even giving a 2 out of 10 effort to the script, which I could tell from the bloopers. Like she was definitely like there's the bloopers with her. It's like she's definitely phoning it in, but she's still the best. She rules. She does gesture over to her like young lover husband, who I thought looked just like Tim Heidecker from the $1 Billion Movie, like when he's still like orange and bleached out. Yeah.
That was funny.
So they're at this memorial service for their dad. Like they're interrupting it, and then they're also like their friends are like just looking through the gift bags, and they get like these phones that have TV on them, and they're like, "Oh my god, this phone has television."
Yeah,
that's funny. I don't think that was ever the way it worked.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think you ever just got like channels on your phone. I think we went straight from cell service to streaming.
Yeah.
I think it's funny. And, when Brent Spinner's going up to give his speech, we do get some character building because he calls Charlene their like handler. He calls her like Kathy or like Charlotte or something. And she's like, it's Charlene. So I'm like, oh, he must be an asshole. He's a bad guy. Yeah. That immediately made my sensor go off. I'm like, why would you make him not know people's names unless he's a villain? But yeah, so we get that scene. And then while they're like giving their like little speech about their dead dad looking like fucking great value Timothy Oliphant and like the pictures behind him, they're interrupted because on the news, Rob Fukuzaki, Ned Nakamori, has he's doing his like on the street reporting, his what would you do fucking type show. And
and it had just pop up on all the phones that they just gifted them. Yeah,
and then someone says, put it on the big screen, and it's instantly put on the, like, you can't even do that now. Like we have, we're very good. Like we have great technology now.
You can cast almost any screen you want, but it doesn't work like that.
That would still be like 5 minutes of like people jostling around being like, oh, maybe I didn't get the sound to work, but I got it up there. Like, most unrealistic thing in the movie. Killed it. Killed the movie for me. But anyways, it goes up on the screen and we find out that their products are causing negative reactions, and their brand is now in jeopardy and they're forced to flee. Do you have anything else to say about that? Basically they leave, they escape, but it seems like their business might be in trouble. And Anjelica Huston looks on, austere as always. Obviously, she's meant to be the person who you think is responsible for it. So then we cut. The girls are in their mansion. They're like painting their nails and stuff. And then hijinks ensue. Haley's stressed out, so she tries to smoke a cigarette, and she burns down their house.
Hillary's like, you can't smoke those things, and then they're fighting over a single lit cigarette,
which they just throw onto the carpet.
I know they have a maid for that, so it's unrealistic, but
I think it's implied like the maids have all left because they lost all their money. They still have like the asset. They're like, it's so spooky in here when it's all alone. So the Final Destination demon like knocks over a fucking bottle of rubbing alcohol, and then they throw a cigarette onto it, and their house explodes. They go to the hotel. They try to get into the hotel, but it turns out their credit cards have all been canceled.
Then they go to the maid's house.
And standing outside of the fucking maid's house are the brothers from fucking Good Charlotte.
Yeah. Oh, yep. The number 2 cameo.
What are their names? The fucking
Joel and Billy Madden.
Billy Joel.
Joel Madden and
Madden's the Maddens. Boom. John Madden's kids. Good Charlotte. So they're standing outside and they're like immediately just going like exposition, like, we need a new car, man. I guess they're supposed to be like gangsters, but like Joel is like wearing a fucking blazer. Like I hope it's supposed to be parody. I hope they weren't trying to like make them seem fucking cool and hard. Like, this is a bad neighborhood. The guys from Good Charlotte are standing out here in fucking blazers. It's like, all right.
Obviously the first time girls have ever been in a neighborhood like this.
Fascinating. Like, oh my god, it's the worst neighborhood.
And I guess they obviously set up what happens next when they tossed Rick the keys to their car, because they just assumed that their whole life is valeted.
So they give their keys to the Good Charlotte guys, and they steal their car because they're hard and they're cool and they got street cred, and they would steal a car like that. That's the Carl Lewis like version for Good Charlotte. I feel like they tried so hard to make those guys seem like they would do it. Like they sometimes drink a beer or two. Like, they're cool.
Well, they were dressed, they were definitely the type of guys that are like, we should go out and steal a car tonight. And then after they see that none of the cars that they check are actually open, maybe we'll just go home. Like, I don't actually want to like break any windows or anything. But then luck falls upon them and they get tossed the keys to a very nice car.
Let's just go hang out at the gas station and buy underage kids booze when they show up. But anyways, so their car is stolen, and then they go to visit Inez. This is, I think, where I noticed that her butt was gigantic. I think she's in like her silk pajamas. And it's just cartoonishly large, which is funny. That was a thing they did for some reason. But she has like tea for them, and she makes them tea. They go to stay in a room with her, and they find out it's like their old childhood beds. that they've been apparently like just handing down like clothes and stuff to this lady. It's like it's supposed to be like charming or like I don't know. It's just
Also they they paint Inez to be their surrogate mom, and then they just find out that she has daughters that don't live with her.
Like, we care about you so much and we love you.
Yeah, we love you, but we actually know nothing about you. You've just cleaned up after us for the last 18 years, 20 years.
No, it's wild. I guess it's supposed to be endearing, but it's mostly just annoying and makes me dislike them even more.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the next day they go back into the business, right? And there's like a board meeting where they're trying to decide if they're going to sell.
Yep.
They decide they don't want to sell because they believe in their dad's legacy. Although he's dead and gone, believe me, his memory carries on for them. So he's, they're trying not to sell their dad's legacy. So they think there's something fishy going on. I don't know where the inklings of that start, but they're like, we're going to have to like get an investigator to look at this, right?
Well,
I'm skipping a little bit.
I think Hillary just believes in her dad so much that
he would never
like that. And then this is the first time that Haley is actually on board, because she's just been unwilling to care about the company at all. But all of a sudden she's like, no, I have a feeling, or we're going to fix this. I just don't know how yet. And so out of nowhere, she's like ready to start fighting for the company.
So this is like a weird loop in the story, which I feel is very poorly written. They decide they want to get a job so they can hire a private investigator, which I thought was going to be the entire movie.
They go to the lawyer and see Mr. Baines again.
Yeah, so they try to get him to do like he's a lawyer for like the poor. I guess he's like people that can't afford to be a lawyer. So you could say that he's like some type of like savior of like the broken, the beaten, and the damned, I suppose.
Yeah, they go in and it's noted that on the sale of the company that the girls are each going to get $60 million, but they don't want their $60 million. So it's Howard, right?
Yeah. Henry.
So Henry's like, oh, because you don't want your $60 million, you want me to do pro bono work for you. He's just like, sorry, I got people with real problems.
No, I wish we could have gotten a little bit more backstory on Henry, on like why he decided to like help people. Like if maybe like when he was a young boy, like his father took him into the city to see a marching band. And then, like if we could have gotten something to like establish why he is the way he is.
Well, any backstory on any character in the movie would be helpful. The only one you really get any backstory on is Hilary Duff, and you don't even get that. You just get that she's attached to the TiVo. Like that's her prized possession.
Yeah, she saves it from the fire. I don't know if we mentioned that, but she goes back in and risks death to save the TiVo, like Matthew McConaughey in Tropic Thunder.
And as we stated, like there had to have been photo out. I don't know. In the digital age now, I would be running in to grab my computer, but actually I wouldn't even do that. It's all in the cloud. So there's no comparison. I'd leave my phone. I wouldn't grab a single thing other than all the gold and valuables.
Yeah, my trove of gold. But anyways, so they go. He's saying like he'll look into it, but he doesn't like do anything more committal than that. Yeah, he insists that they need like a private investigator. Yeah,
that's where it happens. He's like, I would suggest you get a private investigator, and then now they have to find jobs because even though they have this company, they have zero access to any money.
There's this horrible nothing loop in the plot right here where they find out they need a private investigator. So they're like, okay, we'll get jobs to afford a private investigator. So they go to like a temp agency and they have like no skills. So the temp agency lady's like, you guys need to like learn how to type. And that's where we get the gag from the trailer. Like, oh, we can type. We can do 10 IMs a minute. Oh, they're vapid. I never would have guessed at this stage of the film. So yeah, but this ends up being resolved with them not getting jobs and then deciding that they will instead be the private investigators.
Yes.
So there's just nothing loop in the movie. This plot thread which just ties itself in this awful bow.
And just the fact that they're completely vapid throughout the entire movie, and Hilary Duff wants to be like a chemist. Yeah. Like it just doesn't like I get it, but
yeah, like you don't like understand like how
the world works.
You have like no concept of like reality.
I want to be a doctor.
Yeah.
surgeon. It's a skill that I can just develop over the course of a couple years of schooling.
Yeah. Well, it's because she's Hillary Duff. But yeah. Anyways, so they decide they're just going to be the private investigators. So, and this is fucking hilarious. They break into their own company.
Yeah.
They choose to have disguises. I think the only reason they had the disguises was so they could put the maid outfit on, and then they could market, because the whole trailer is like Hillary Duff in the maid outfit, like being like, oh, this is gross, and like, so they could make it seem like it's a movie where that's the plot, where they're getting jobs and like forced to enter the workforce, because that's totally the way movies advertised.
Yeah. What was the timeline? Like did they go to try to get jobs, and then were they back at the apartment? Because one of my favorite scenes was when Hillary Duff tried on Inez's shoes.
Yeah.
For the first time, and she's like, I don't even know where it came from, because this is supposed to be like a rich, cool girl, and just the way she danced around, feeling what comfort feels like in a pair of shoes for the first time in her life. Yeah. Both times that I watched it, that was a big scene that stood out for me. I was I don't know what this is. Yeah. That's a little rough, but I liked it a lot. But that's because I like Hillary Duff. So I
want to be a chemist. I don't know what shoes are.
It's so goofy.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely.
That was one of the more endearing scenes to me.
Oh yeah, okay, and that was endearing to you.
Yeah. She's just dancing around in the maid shoes, and she just loved it and did this little goofy dance. I was like, oh yeah.
I think it gave me like a mini stroke. Yeah, I was too distracted by the smell of toast to take notes of the. But anyways, so she like so yeah, they go and they get disguises as maids, just again so they could have pictures of them as maids. So they're like, oh, it's gonna be one of these. They're gonna have to get like jobs, but no, they're just disguises so they can break into a company that I'm pretty sure they're allowed to be at.
Yeah.
So like if they got caught, they could just be like, oh yeah, we own the company. Like it's not like anyone would have thrown them out.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
but they also felt something fishy was going on. So they, when your whole life is surrounded by TV, you automatically assume that you need to sneak around when you're doing something sneaky.
I mean, you're giving them a lot. You're giving them a lot of credit.
Well, and they really lucked out that Rick was there for some reason.
Yeah, I was suspicious. Why the fuck was Rick there late at night, like breaking in? Like I thought that meant Rick. I totally thought that meant Rick was gonna be like one of the bad guys too, and he was gonna be in on it. So what the fuck's Rick doing here? And he's got like lockpicking skills.
Well, yeah, I was just gonna say he had to be there because otherwise they don't get in.
Yeah.
Like that was the only reason he was there. They just wrote in, oh, there's a little bit of a plot hole here. They're gonna break in, and we're not gonna have them steal key cards or keys or anything. We're just gonna put them in disguises. So they need to find a way to get in.
Yeah, because Rick's in there, and then Rick's like, he's like, oh, I can't leave because of the dogs. Which meant he was just there and trapped as much as they were. So like if he was in there, because the whole thing is like he helps them pick the lock. He's like, oh, I used to be a gangbanger, which is that's what people say. That's a real thing. People who like have had troubles, they say like I used to be a gangbanger. They say it just like that. And they help you pick locks because they're all able to pick like anyone that's ever had any adversity in their life like picks up all the thievery skills from any RPG. Well, so you get pickpocketing and lockpicking,
Yeah, they make like they don't go into that anymore, but if that's one of your skills that you developed at a young age, he's definitely committed felonies.
Oh, for sure.
Before this felony.
He stole a bunch of collagen and put it in his lips. But anyways, so he's there, and the whole set piece ends like the guard dogs are like in the parking lot, so they can't leave. So they have to go all the way around to the roof. It's very convoluted for the nothing payoff that it is. And then they have to jump into trash.
Yeah, that's also when they find out, when they run into Rick again. That's when they find out that he wasn't. Is that when they find out he wasn't?
Yeah, that he works in the lab, that he's not a valet.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, you're gonna help us. We'll make you the lead valet.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Which is fucking hilarious for a multitude of reasons. But I just like to imagine that like Rick's just there doing whatever the fuck he was doing there, like after hours, and that like he's trapped by the dogs. So it's just a funnier
crimes. He's like in the lab by himself, making drugs instead of cosmetics because you can't leave that life.
I guess. But anyways, so but like I said, I think it'd be funny if he broke in. It'd be a funnier movie if he broke in and then he just was doing whatever he was doing there, and then he had to jump in the trash by himself. And there's no witty banter about him catching Hilary Duff and being her hero. It's just a man escaping dogs and rifling through the trash for no reason. But anyways, they commit an act of they steal from their own company. And they stealthily infiltrate a company they were definitely allowed to be at, and most definitely probably could have had the keys to all the doors if they asked. But anyways, they do that because it's fun. And then they get like the records of all the people that made the complaints and like the test reports of like when the product was in testing, like if people had adverse reactions and all that. And so then they just start calling these people, which must be illegal.
Well, they also find out that they fixed the formula at that time, didn't they? Like, it's already been fixed. Like, so it's almost a non-issue at that point in itself.
Yeah, so they start like doing recon, and then I guess at some point, I think we probably skipped this. I don't know if it happened yet, but at some point they have to go to meet with Haley's husband for the engagement party, or her fiance, sorry.
Yeah.
And they go to that, and he totally ghosts her and doesn't let her in. Their friend, Even Stevens guy, he pretends not to know him. Yeah,
they get him on the phone, and, like, he ducks away, and they're just like, what's going on? They have no idea that now they don't have friends, because before they only had friends because they were rich.
Yeah, and Haley,
they're still very rich, but people are like, oh, we don't know these. They're not billionaires anymore.
Yeah. I think it's just they don't want the stink of the scandalous company.
Yeah, I guess so.
But yeah, but anyways, she gets broken up with by her fiance's like agent.
Yeah.
So anyways, they storm off from there. And yeah, so now we're kind of at the point where they're continuing to do this nothing research. God, Jesus, nothing happened in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, so they end up. Like they have like a little meet cute with Henry, and it's not a meet cute, but like they end up having like their little moment where she goes to visit him and like investigate, and he's like eating pizza or something.
Yeah. And like she had never had I forget what type of pizza it was, but she's like, oh my God, that's amazing. And he's like, you've never had like pizza?
Oh, Domino's. Yeah, it's like Domino's. Yeah.
You never had Domino's before? It's like,
yeah. So yeah, but then they kind of have like a little fight at the end, which goes nowhere, by the way. But they start to argue because he was like going in for a kiss, but then she ends up like being still a very shallow person, I guess, and that upsets him. A woman sends him reeling from decimated dreams. Hopefully this misery and hate doesn't kill us all. But yeah, so at the same time while that scene's happening, Hillary is trying to infiltrate somewhere else. I don't even remember why. She's trying to break in somewhere.
Yeah.
She's like trying to wear like a scantily clad outfit. It's not scantily clad at all. To try to seduce the guard. He jokes about how she looks like the person that she is, and he's like, yeah, she's an asshole though. And that's the gag.
Yeah.
But then another guy just shows up and he's like, yeah, that's her. And she gets immediately arrested.
Like in itself a weird gag because if anything, Haley's character is the one that's bitchy to people.
Yeah, for sure.
Like they never even paint her in any single scene as like ill-willed towards anyone. If anything, she's the hopeful dreamer of the two sisters that like she goes to the club in the very beginning and she has like all these shitty friends that you can tell only like her for money. Like a lot of like meaningless interactions and things like that. So it's like the fact that the guard thinks she's an asshole is like it's unfounded in the movie up to this point. But then
it's like one of those dads that like their only thing is like to go, I don't know about those Kardashians. It's like that's their whole input of society. Be like, they don't even do anything useful, and yet they're famous. Like that just that pointless meandering bullshit.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, so she gets arrested. Then she's taken to jail. She calls her sister and Henry. So that's kind of, I don't know why they were fighting because they are immediately reunited by the need to go bail her out. Again, making the sisters seem like kind of pieces of shit that are using people because like they're about to like fight, but then as soon as she like needs him as a means to an end, like he helps her. Like everyone in this movie is just so nice to them.
Yeah, everyone's really nice. And while they're in jail, like again, like Hillary's not an asshole because
Yeah.
like you got these prison inmates that are about to beat the crap out of her, and they find out she has really soft skin.
Yeah,
and
they
she
stop
just
beating
goes
her up
in
because her
and-
skin's nice.
Yeah, they stop beating her up, and then she gives them a bunch of beauty tips. But obviously, they don't know that their company is going under and all their products are trash.
We got the line of the movie here. I don't know if you caught it.
I don't know if I did either.
Okay, so they're one of the 3 prostitutes that Hillary Duff is trapped into the jail cell with is a African American woman.
I know.
Very tastefully named La Portia, which is that's just funny. Just good comedy writing. Definitely nothing sus or problematic about that. But Hillary Duff has the line where she says, "Yeah, the person I know uses cosmetics that's the same skin shade as you."
Oh, okay. When you started to say the a different line stuck out to me, but yeah, that's definitely
no. That was the one that got me. The same skin shade as you. It reminded me of the line that's like meant to be like an awkward line, like from Get Out, where they're like eating dinner and like her weird racist brother's like, if someone had your genetic makeup, they'd be a great MMA fighter. Like, oh. It's one of those lines that makes you go, ooh.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. It triggered me. It made me perk up.
It's basically the guy that grew up in a town with one black person who says like, "Oh, you look like one of my old best friends."
Yeah, very let me touch your hair type of energy.
Yeah. But no, I thought you were gonna say the line where the prostitutes are coming over to her and they're like, "Oh, you look like one of those fancy prostitutes," or "You must be one of those fancy prostitutes."
No, I thought that was fun.
Yeah, I thought that was a good line though.
Yeah, for sure. But anyways, they bail her out. Like it's not a problem. It's not a plot point. She immediately makes bail. They get bail bonds. Like it's like a gag that she doesn't know that like that's a thing you can do. But it's not really a gag because they have enough money. Like just straight. They don't even have to do collateral. Like
yeah. But I'm also surprised they gave them any collateral. Oh well, yeah. I guess they did have to use collateral, but they didn't have any access to their money, so maybe that's why, even though they're obviously millionaires.
Yeah, it's just another thing that like it goes nowhere. It doesn't matter. Like it's immediately resolved. Like that's every problem in this movie, except for like every problem is just like immediately resolved.
Yeah.
But anyways, so that happens, and they go out to like meet a lady who's also on their list of people. And I think at this point, Hillary Duff has recognized her from the TiVo video with their dad. Yeah. So they go out to visit her. You want to describe that interaction?
That's one of my favorite scenes.
Okay, good, because I have nothing.
So like they go and visit this lady and they're sitting on her couch and there's just probably 10 plus cats walking around and they're just asking her a bunch of questions about what the cosmetics did to her and how she was like horribly deformed by it and all these things. And then they start asking her if they could see any pictures of her before when she was younger. And she goes off and is like, "Oh, I'm a very shy person," while the Duff sisters are just looking around the house and there's just nothing but these giant headshots of this woman with different cats. But she's like the shy person. They're like, "Well, you have a lot of photos around here." She's like, "Oh, but those are mainly for the cats." But it's just like her like glowing and smiling and like just glamour photo shoots with her and her cats. But basically get nowhere with her either. So I don't know where some of their other information comes from when they use that info later on. But still, it was definitely, I thought it was a funny scene just because of that woman just denying that like, "Oh no, I'm very shy." And she's just got, her house is filled with photos of her and her cats.
Yeah. So after that, they feel like they have, they talk to some weird guy outside. And he mentions that she like has lived there a long time or something. I don't even remember. Like,
oh yeah, that's right.
He gives them some like weird plot thread that like makes it all come together.
Yeah, exactly. It was that guy, and they're like, "Hey, tell your mom." Like they refer to her as her mom or something like that, or he does.
Yeah,
very angry confrontation.
Yeah, so he comes out and yells at him, and then they get the piece of information that they finally needed to put it all together. So they go out, they go back to their business the next day. They run into Ned Nakamori, Rob Fukuzaki, and they tell him like, "Hey, let's go. We're gonna show you corporate. We're gonna get the scoop." And when they go upstairs, and just this completely flat, like it's supposed to be like the climax of the film, but it's just completely flat. They're in like a weird like office room. It's not even like a boardroom. It's just like a weird, like it's such a weird place to have like the climax of a film. Just this incredibly tight little area, and they have this back and forth, and we find out that Tomcat was the bad guy all along. Data.
Yeah. Well, that's also my favorite scene with Craig Obababatunde.
Yeah.
Like that's his best scene.
Yeah,
he does the same thing over and over again, but that's the best one where he's just like talking to his wife or his mom or something, and it's very loving to this guy that he's, saying hi to, and all right, talk to you later, and instantly goes into this awkward. Sounds like it's completely directed at the guy that's in front of him.
I love you. So, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
It's very funny. But then he also has a line after they find out that Brent Spinner is the villain.
Yeah.
Where he just dolomites him for no reason. Just out of nowhere, just takes him down. Just hits him with the dolomite out of nowhere. Like that's not a thing the character's been doing.
Yeah.
That was wonderful. Very, very good. Very good stuff in this movie. Definitely like a movie for everyone. It's definitely not alien to any sensibility. It's just great. It's perfect. And that's that. Then we get the denouement where we find out 6 months later, Haley Duff is like actually taking an interest in the business, and her and Lucas Haas are an item. And he's finally wearing a suit that looks like it fits him. He's been wearing this he's been fucking swimming in everything. But he does make a note to point out that it is still off the rack. So he's just fine. So I was like, okay, that's fine. He's a thrifty guy.
Clothes that he's wearing are the only key to his past.
Yeah.
He also has prized possessions from his probably deceased father.
So those two, including Lucas Haas, they carry on. And then we find Hilary Duff is in a lab with Rick, and they're making babies' butt soft cosmetics.
Yeah, and obviously she's a chemist.
Yeah, 6 months. That's a chemistry degree. Yeah, 6 months.
So I guess the only disappointing part was Anjelica Huston didn't really have, like you said, she gave a 2 out of 10. She didn't have anything that like made her characters stand out, or aside from her really young boyfriend, she had no character building. She was just there to be the person trying to buy this company.
I was hoping that they would like catch her, like that the material girls would like find out, or like at least think that she had like committed an atrocity against them, and they would have like had her like lay her hands out in front of them and then chopped them off with the samurai sword.
The only thing she said was, I just said, do it at any means, by any means possible, and I don't want to know.
Yeah. So she gets out on the Trump defense.
Yeah.
I told him to do whatever. Like, I say do whatever means. Like, that doesn't mean anything. Come on. Like, so but that's it. And then we get the final shot, which I thought was interesting. It's Inez and her family they helped her bring her sisters to the country. And in their infinite generosity, didn't get her a new house or apartment for being their surrogate mother. She's still living under the fucking power lines. Her kids cannot fucking sleep because there's a giant fucking billboard out the window of the Marchettas. They can't even bother to like take the bill, like fucking assholes, dude. Like I was like, you couldn't move her to a nicer place, or you couldn't have taken your billboard down and like made their no. It's like fuck you, and it ends with them all. Yeah, it turns out it's a Harry Potter billboard, so it winks, and that's the end of Material Girls.
Yeah.
Holy shit! An hour and like 38 minutes or something. I don't fucking know.
Nice.
It was a mess. Let's just get right. Is it redeemed or is it rotten still, David? How do you feel?
Definitely rotten.
Yeah, 1000% rotten.
There was nothing in this movie aside from Carl Weathers saying you got runner's legs.
Carl Lewis.
My bad.
Oh my fucking god! If Carl Weathers showed up.
Yeah, Carl Lewis. You got runner's legs. Yeah.
You move like a boxer.
Yeah,
Watch out for Haley Duff.
But I watched it twice. I put the effort in. I was like,
God,
maybe it's not that bad.
They're gonna start putting like those mesothelioma ads on TV. Like, have you been forced to watch the film Material Girls twice?
Yeah.
All Jenkins and Jenkins.
They said in the commentary that when they scored the Duff sisters, because that was a big score at the time, that they had many rewrites on the script to make it work. So it's possible that if different casting occurred, that it was a better script before they put out the final product, but we'll never know.
I did look up the writer. John Quaintance, I think, was the lead writer. And he wrote like the exact same, like not the exact same movie, but a movie that like I could tell like this guy is just the worst writer ever. Sorry, John Quaintance. Good for you for having a career, dude. But like he also wrote the film Hot Pursuit.
Yeah.
With Reese Witherspoon and Sofia Vergara, which is another just like nothing movie. Like, oh my fuck, it's the most fucking meandering trash bag movie.
Yeah.
So why do you look like Jose Bieber?
Yeah, so just all around, just the best. But yeah, so it's a terrible film.
Yeah, no, I looked up the writer as well, and I noticed the Hot Pursuit.
So why do you look like Jose Bieber?
And when I was going through his list, like he had a lot of like comedy credits.
Yeah, he wrote some
Workaholics. Like Workaholics and Whitney, and I was like, why? Like if that's something that you do, and it seemed like it was recurring in his work, and I'm like, there was just no comedy or anything funny that happened in this movie. Like I said, the only thing that made me laugh was that scene when Hilary Duff put those shoes on. But it was her physical prowess that made me laugh.
It's her physical acting. Yeah, she's a physical comedian. Like
yeah,
it's a real curly Joe.
Yeah. Like I said, that scene's the only one that's gonna stick with me whenever this movie gets brought up again in the future.
Oh, I'm sure.
Forever burned into my memory.
What did you think of the remix of Material Girls by Hilary Duff? Or Hillary and Haley, I should say.
Yeah, it was unrecognizable.
Yeah, they added like this weird like throbbing beat to it, and it makes this like bit at the end, which isn't the original song, but it doesn't sound as much like this. There's this bit where she goes, material, like, but like it's in like the original song when Madonna does it, but like because it's like so thumping at that rhythm on this one, it ends up sounding just like the Magnificent Seven theme. I noticed it in the trailer too. But an awful film, a great film to start off. Definitely makes me want to do more. I definitely want to just have more experience.
I don't know if we stated it when we started, but this one was number 100. So this is the highest ranked on the list that we're going to be going through. So it doesn't bode well for the future.
It just gets better from here.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, leaders and fighters for freedom and liberty, the best is yet to come.
I just hope the rest of the movies aren't as hard to watch as this one, because since there was nothing there, it just
I hope I hope they loop back into that like so bad it's good era like zone, because this one was just fucking insufferable. Like it wasn't funny, none of it missed, and it did the worst sin of a film. It was just boring.
And starting off like with the hard to get aspect of this film, I was like, man, it's a bummer that you can't just have easy access to this movie. They have no chance of remaking
it was not
they lost. And I'm like, oh, they just want to like destroy this from history, like act like it never happened. Like we don't want people watching this movie
Star Wars holiday special treatment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like it's fucking and it's just like a movie. I don't think I've ever seen a movie where the characters end up in exactly the same place where they start, and like no discernible meaningful change has happened.
Yeah, but like, at least Haley's character had a little growth. She, is dating the lowly pro bono lawyer and is cued in to start running the company.
But like that's such a small character change. Like I'm going to try slightly harder at work. Like, that's the entire. That's the most meaningful and established arc in the movie. Is someone is like now they kind of care about their job.
Yeah, but if you put her into the place where you would put like say a Paris Hilton, or Nikki Hilton. Imagine how you would feel if someday in the near future you heard that they were taking over the company, because that's who her character was. She was straight up like just the party girl, that socialite. And then the other weird scene that we didn't mention was that what was it, Chelsea, the secretary or whatever,
what the fuck was going on
when
with
she was
her?
introduced, she had like the nose thing on, and then finally at the very end of the movie when her surgery is healed, she's like, "Oh, your nose looks like mine." Like Hilary Duff says, "Oh, your nose looks like mine," which is a weird thing to be able to recognize on somebody. Like I don't think I could ever see another person and be like, "Oh, they have my same nose." Like, but I guess I'm not a material.
You'll
girl.
do it when you have kids, because that's what every stupid asshole says about their kids. But like,
yeah, that's what they say. But like, I don't even think parents say that.
No, they
Maybe
just say that.
not
They
a
just say
parent.
that. Just
So,
narcissistic
other people
asshole.
will say, "Oh, they look just like you."
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and then like the girl's like, "Oh yeah, you were my inspiration." So that was weird as well.
Yeah, they like offered to give her their clothes after they were done with it too.
Yeah.
Like,
In
they
6
suck,
months more
dude.
than you can have her clothes.
Yeah. So like at the peak of the story, like the difference is like they're going to get bought out for like 100 million at one point, and then they're going to get bought out for like 60 million.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, these stakes. That's oh my god. Like,
But
it's
their
fucking
father's legacy, Ian.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it will carry on, although he's dead and gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the TiVo finally up and dies, or becomes obsolete.
So that was this one. So next week we're going to be doing Blood Rain, the Uwe Boll masterpiece.
I'm excited. I have never seen this movie.
I'm playing through the video game now, so